welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do a demonstration ride today, and the purpose of that really is just to show you the sort of standard that will be expected of you riding towards the end of an advanced bike course, either with Rosper or the IM. I'm going to commentate all the way through, which you wouldn't be expected to do on the bikes. The biggest significant difference between advanced car and advanced bike training is there's no need for you to do a commentary. But today we're just going to go for a ride, probably about an hour. I might cut it down to a shorter version, but I'll also upload the full length version as well, if you've got a higher boredom threshold. So before I get on the bike, obviously I've given the bike a check this morning. Oil, fluids, everything are okay, tyres are in good condition, pressures are good. Giving it a bit of a wash as well. It's not immaculate, but I've given it a bit of a wash. And before I get on the bike, quick look round us. Front brake on, leg over the bike. I'm going to put the stand up, keeping the front brake on, clutch in, into first gear. My preference then is to go to the rear brake. So you can set off from the front brake if you want. Again, another quick shoulder check and a left shoulder check. And I'm going to set off and do a nice U-turn, looking in the direction we want to go, and out of here I'm going to turn left. So gently come to a stop because it's a limited view, and just edge forward. Look left before you go. Always look left before you turn left. You never know what's coming from that direction. I'm just going to take my time through here. 30 limit. We're in a nice rural area. I'm going to start off on a little bit of a rural run. What I'm going to try and do is include all the types of roads that you'd normally expect to get on an advanced bike test. So some nice rural roads, A and B roads, national speed limit. But also some motorway and some urban roads as well. I'll let this cyclist go before we do. And then we're going to edge up, and it is a stop sign. So we're going to stop. Steady accelerate out of the junction, and up ahead I'm going to turn left at the next junction, on the left at the Black Dog pub. So I'm going to apply the system of bike control, checking the mirrors for information, put a signal on. Position is centre of the road. I'm on the speed phase on the brakes, down into second gear, quick look into the junction and a left shoulder check, and then a little bit of acceleration, not forgetting to cancel the signal as we turn into the junction. So there, at a very early stage, we've been able to apply the 5 phases of the system of bike control on approach to a left turn into a junction. So up ahead now I can see that there is a warning sign for ice. I doubt very much today we're going to get ice. It's towards the end of May, spring bank holiday weekend. I'm keeping third gear at the moment because that gives us some flexibility into the national speed limit. So on approach to the national speed limit, I'm checking my mirrors, quick shoulder check to make sure we're not being overtaken, and then building up the acceleration. Now I'm going to get the right position on the approach to this right-hander by tucking into the near side here. Afternoon. Keeping a little bit of gas on through the corner. And up ahead I've got a sign there, double bends and road narrows from both sides. I can see that from the blue sign I've got priority, but I'm not going to expect that. We'll be careful on the approach. A couple of vehicles coming out of that dip. I don't think there's any more now, so I'm going to take a central position, just check the mirrors and shoulders before we move out. And then back to the near side, keeping an eye on this vehicle in a junction on the near side, just looking, see if he's looking at me, and then back to a sort of position 2. Up ahead now I can see the road rising all the way up, and there's a sign there for double bends, an advisory speed limit of 30, I'll be the judge of that. On the approach to that first bend, which is a left-hander, I'm going to take a position up towards the centre line, on the speed phase on the brakes, down 2 gears to third, gentle acceleration as we go in. Now I'm thinking of moving out for the cyclist, but I've got the 2 oncoming cyclists as well. So not too much gas until I'm past them. Keeping the flexibility of the lower gears. There I've got a couple of cyclists again, and a car in the distance, parked on the offside, a white car in front of some signage. So giving these cyclists nice, plenty of room. We'll take a slightly offside position here, down to third. Again, I can't tuck into the near side for the right-hander because of the cyclist, so I'm going to stay out up towards the centre line. There's the white car and the signs that we saw, and there's a few other cars parked here. So I'm looking for people moving around and boots opening, people stood in the road. and a little bit more gentle acceleration, firming the acceleration up, Thinking about the car passing the cyclist coming towards me. It's like they're staying put for now. So I'm not going to move left to encourage that, but I would move left if they did move out on the overtake. Lovely view in the distance there. Like this car's on the overtake here. To keep in a near side position, he didn't give me any choice. Position, speed, gear down to third gear. Looking through the bend, I can take a bit off the offside here on the way through. Straighten the bend out with a little bit of gas on. And I can see I'm catching up with some slow moving vehicles in front. There's a motorcyclist now, I think. A couple of other vehicles. Just checking the pedestrians on the offside. I'm keeping a position here that's sort of towards the centre line, but not too far in case there's anybody coming towards us who's cutting that white centre line or overtaking these cyclists. So yeah, we're slowing down now behind the slow moving vehicles. There's a couple of vehicles behind a cyclist. Looking all the way through the bend, down into second gear. Just keeping second gear for now, a bit of flexibility on the hill, holds me back as well. Up ahead now, the road's going right and then left. Got a bridge off to the right, so that indicates there's likely to be a junction on the right up ahead. So I'm already thinking about that. We're linking that with the vehicle in front turning off, or vehicles joining our road from that junction. Another road sign there, double bends, first to the left, actually a series of bends, first one to the left, and accompanied horses and ponies. There's a riding stable around here somewhere. There's the junction we mentioned. Brake lights from the car in front. Just checking the mirrors. And as predicted, the car in front turns off. Lovely to make those little predictions, isn't it? So I'm just keeping third for this right-hander, looking through the bend. Ahead it's going left and then right. And there's a little bit of an entrance to commercial premises on the left here, so I'm going to move the bike away from that up towards the centre of the road. Fishery. And then check the mirrors and move back to a sort of position 2, centre of the lane. Centre line position for this left-hander now. As we tip the bike in, I'm going to come away from that centre line, bring it back to position 2. Just to keep us away from any oncoming vehicles. Now we're going near side. I'm keeping it near side and a change in speed limit down to a 30, so checking the mirrors, a little bit of brakes. Down 2 gears to third to hold our speed down as we come into the village of Limbrick. I can see the road going round to the left in the distance here, so there's a village. There's going to be a lot more hazards here. Entrances, driveways, people knocking about. There's no footpath as well, so there might be pedestrians in the road. Bear that in mind. We've got the pub, but they're all shut because of lockdown at the moment, but we'd always think about vehicles there on a bank holiday. Moving away from that one in the offside junction there, just having a look at them. Now eyes down towards the bottom of the hill as we crest the rise here, so I'm dropping back off the car in front just to extend the view a little bit down the offside. And we can see there's a sign at the bottom of the hill for a double roundabout. We've got vehicles parked near side and offside. There's a Subaru in the junction on the near side. I'm going to move away from that vehicle out towards the centre line. Keep a good look at them. Make sure they've got my attention, or I've got their attention I should say. So these double roundabouts go right at the first and straight on at the second. We're keeping an eye on the BMW in that junction there. So on the approach to this first roundabout, I'm going to check the mirrors, put a right signal on. Position towards the centre line. Speed phase, I'm on the brakes. So we get towards the roundabout, I'm going to change down to first gear. And it's come to a stop. Looking right now, it's clear to go. Second before we turn right. Looking at the vehicles approaching the roundabout, checking the mirrors, cancel the signal. Right into the near side lane. Checking right at the second roundabout, nothing coming round. And just nice and smartly up to about 30 miles an hour, the speed limit for this road. Quick check into that junction on the left there. Eyes up ahead now, the road's bending round to the right. And we've got a load of residential properties on the left there. So there could be people leaving the driveways, driving off, pulling out, reversing out. Let's check the mirrors. So up ahead now, another sign for a roundabout. We're going straight ahead of that roundabout, so we get a bit closer, we'll choose our lane based on the information on the route board. We're following the signs for Preston A6, group of motorcyclists up there. These are lane marked, and this centre lane is for straight on. I want to go straight on. So mirrors for information, position's correct, speed on the brakes, down 2 gears, just keeping the lanes on the roundabout, keeping a reasonable distance from the car in front. Making a decision now whether I think I should filter. I'm not going to, I'm going straight on at this one, which is left-hand lane. And as the vehicles are starting to move, that's not a good time to be filtering through traffic. Keeping a near side position, just checking the shoulders, checking to the right. And up ahead now I can see a change in speed limit up to 40 miles an hour. So I'm keeping a position that's sort of position 2, centre of this lane, away from the cycle lane on the near side. Checking the mirrors, some vehicles in the distance behind me. And I'm looking all the way down the inside here, up the inside of these vehicles, towards the red traffic lights in the distance. Again, just making a judgment whether I should filter to the front of these traffic lights or not, whether there's enough room. And actually, yeah, there is. I'm just going to filter through. Quick left shoulder check just before we move back centre of our lane. Got a car emerging on the left there. So where that car emerges on the left, he might turn right pretty soon afterwards. Where a vehicle comes in from the left, quite often they turn off to the right. It certainly might turn off very shortly anyway. So yeah, I can try and see if there's anybody waiting at the crossing. There's nobody there. And there's the cyclist that we spotted earlier on. Just shows what a difference a little bit of high vis makes and how much earlier you can see a cyclist like that. And I just got smacked in the visor if you heard it. I think it was an eagle. It's either that or a massive bumblebee. I'm moving away from this cyclist now, keeping out of all this conflict. You know, it's not how people push themselves into conflict situations like this driver of this black car in front then. So looking behind, I've got a motorcyclist catching up with me, not particularly quickly, but it looked like he was on the overtake then as we came through there. Garage forecourt up on the left here, and a vehicle emerging. So I'm going to check the mirrors and move away from that vehicle in the junction. And then back to sort of position 2 here. Keep an eye on this motorcyclist. He's caught up with us pretty quick. I might be thinking about overtaking us here. If he does, we'll just stay out of his way. So because of this motorcycle, I'm going to put a very early signal on for my right turn at the next roundabout. There's a vehicle emerging from the junction on the right, so I'm going to wait until I've gone past the supermarket entrance. The red car there. Lovely positioning from the blue Skoda there. Early signal now. Give her a check. The black car's done exactly what I predicted he'd do and turn left, turn right. Down to first gear, and just nice and smartly away. Leaving it in first as we go around, just checking that blue vehicle. Left signal, left shoulder check. Nice and smartly away. Into a 30 limit. Very easy to miss those speed limits. As you leave the roundabout, vehicle in front's turning off. I'm continuing straight on. Just checking the mirrors. I'm not accelerating too hard until we've got to the national speed limit sign. So checking the mirrors again, checking the shoulders. Third gear gives us a nice pull. I move up towards the white centre line, leaving it in third gear. The beauty about a bike like this is you can use the flexibility of those lower gears. The bike will really rev around. Up to the fourth, I'm checking the mirrors, moving right away from this cyclist, up to the centre line, and then sort of back to centre position. Now up ahead now, the road's going left and then it's going round to the right. I've got a slow moving Mini in front, so I'm taking a near side position, taking a little bit of speed off on the brakes. As soon as I took that position then, that truck came into view. He'd already committed to the turn before I came into view to him, so we just lost a little bit of speed to avoid coming into conflict. Now moving up into a following position now on the car in front. Position, speed, down to second gear. I'm looking for breaking the lines now and the opportunity to overtake this Mini. It's going very slowly, 27 miles an hour. National speed limit road, so I'm taking a position near the centre line to open the view up, keeping it in second gear. There's the opportunity. Checking the mirrors and shoulders and back in again. And there's the beauty of a motorbike. Overtakes like that, you wouldn't even consider it in a car, and it was perfectly safe on the bike, not a problem at all. So checking the mirrors now. Road signs tell me the road narrows from both sides. and an uneven road surface and a change in speed limit down to a 30. So we're braking it down to 30. When I come off the brakes, I'll just go down to third gear just to hold us. 30 through the village, scanning onto the car park, into the junctions. Looking at this vehicle coming towards us now and thinking about anything approaching that might want to overtake it. Have to be very careful. So what's the sign ones of the junction on the left? There it is. I'm moving away from that junction. I'm only going to take a near side position as we come off that bend. Keeping third gear, keeping at 30 until we get to the national speed limit signs. Checking the shoulders. Let's pick the bike speed up into fourth and 50. So just rolling it gently into these bends, nice and smoothly. Centre line position for this left-hander. Looking up ahead now, I can see the road bending round to the right. So once we've passed this junction, I'm going to move my position near side, roll off the gas, down one gear, gently roll the bike into the corner and keep the gas on as we go around. So I want the bike accelerating very slightly after I've tipped it in. So we don't accelerate into the bend, we accelerate once the bike is tipped in and settled into the bend. Here for instance, near side position, little bit of brakes, fifth gear down to fourth gear, roll the bike in and then squeeze and roll the gas on. Compresses the rear suspension, gets the bike leaning over, making best use of its tyres. So for this left-hander now, centre line position, brakes, down two gears, roll the bike into position 2, squeeze the gas on. In towards the near side for this one. No brakes, roll it in, gently build the speed up. And then we're moving out towards the centre line, keeping an eye on that car on the offside there, thinking about this building on the left, any vehicles that might be emerging. That's why I'm keeping that centre line position for longer than I normally would do. The pedestrians on the offside there, I'm just moving away from them very slightly. Looking up to the junction, I'm going to turn right, checking the mirrors, putting a right signal on in case there's anybody there who might benefit, that I haven't seen. Position, speed, down two gears, and roll it into the junction after having a good look in both directions. Now we can see we're approaching the motorway, it's the M65. I'm going to take second exit onto the motorway here. So, no signal on approach, near side position, speed phase on the brakes, I have a limited view, no view at all to the right. So I'm staying on the brakes, down to 3, 4 and down to first gear. Coming to a stop. And we're away. Now we're going to join the motorway, just a quick check over the left shoulder there to make sure they weren't emerging in front of us. So the idea as we join the motorway is to build our speed up to a speed that matches the speed of vehicles in lane 1. The white van there, I'm going to drop in behind him. The mirrors move out. So, I get past this van. So on the motorway now, again we're applying the same techniques of looking in the far distance, right up ahead, the road bending round to the left. Here it goes from 2 to 3 lanes, and I'm making assessments about vehicles in lane 1 against what's happening behind. So, left shoulder check, back to lane 1. So up ahead now we've got an exit, we're going to leave at that exit, so I'm checking the mirrors, checking the shoulders, moving across to lane 1, and I'm aiming to put a signal on at the 300 yard marker, and there it is. So at the 300 yard marker I'm going to put a left signal on, just start rolling off the gas slightly, just to match our speed to the Mini in front. So a left mirror check, right mirror check and a right shoulder check before we leave the motorway. And we just roll into a nice following position for now on this Mini, cancel the signal. Again another little last minute right shoulder check, just to check for any of those late exiting vehicles that might come past you at the last second there. Looking ahead of this Mini, I'm looking down the near side, a sign there for traffic lights and a 300 yard marker. I'm going to follow the signs for Ring Road and Clitheroe, A59, which sort of puts us in the centre lane. And actually, left mirror, left shoulder check, and I'm going to put myself in this lane now away from this Mini, because I know I'll get away ahead of both of these vehicles. Looking to the right now. Coming to a stop. I know I'm in first gear. Lights are changing on the opposing traffic lights, so I'm ready for these to change. And away we go. Quick check right. And I'm going to keep the lane on the roundabout. Keep good lane discipline all the way around. Checking my right shoulder. Looking for that Mini. He's a long way behind us now. Checking the lights. Looking into that junction. Making sure nothing's coming through those lights. Left signal. Left shoulder check. Quick right shoulder check there as well as we leave the roundabout. The road's bending around to the left. I'm getting a view across the top of the hedges here. Brake lights from the car in front. Surprise, surprise. And I'll maintain a 2-second following position. Now I'm looking for the opportunity to overtake this car now. He's dropped down to about 40 odd miles an hour. Taking a position to the near side, but we've got a route board. A couple of junctions to the left. There's the overtake. So sometimes that opportunity presents itself nice and quickly, and you just need to take it when you can. Remember, we're just sitting there looking for the opportunity to present itself. We're not looking for the overtake itself. And the opportunity presents itself if you're in the right place, in the right gear. Well, perhaps could have been under a gear lower for that one. Then all you need to do is just move in and take that overtake. Ahead now, I can see the Mini roundabout. Sign for a Mini roundabout there. We're going straight ahead. I'm going to apply the system of bike control. Position. Order towards the offside a little bit. Speed on the brakes. Down one gear. We'll go around that roundabout. Just try and keep your tyres off the white paint. Not too much of a problem on a day like this, but when it's wet you don't want to be on that white paint. It gets very slippery. Just keeping a position here towards the centre line. There's people moving away, somebody moving away from the boot of his car here. Feels like we're coming out of that built up area now. Feels like we're coming into somewhere where there's going to be a slightly higher speed limit. There it is, national speed limit. Checking the mirrors. Checking the shoulders, 4th gear will be okay. Rolling up into a following position now on the car in front. I'm going to take a near side position to extend that view past that car. There's the opportunity. Up ahead now I can see the road bending round to the right. We've got a farm off to the right as well, so I'm just having a quick scan into there looking for any farm vehicles or anything. And a sign there warning us of double bends. We're catching up with the vehicle in front. So route board for a junction to the right and a junction to the left, so the vehicle in front could turn off. I'm rolling off the gas. Sure enough he is doing. So I'm off the gas, position, speed, just to acceleration sense. Good positioning there fella, well done. It's not that difficult, is it? But the good thing is we're not caught out by surprise by that, because we've seen the junction and we've expected him to turn off. So up ahead now, the road's bending around to the left, and then I can see there's a tractor. I'm checking the mirrors, taking an early move out into that second lane. Under axle view there showed me a sign that says the road narrows from the offside. Just be wary of anything overtaking this tractor coming towards us. Shoulder check back to the left, and in a minute I'm going to turn off and I'm going to stop. So I'm checking the mirrors nice and early. I'm going to turn in where that van's turning out there. So I'm rolling off the gas now. I'm going to put a left signal on. I'm going to move the position towards the near side, start slowing it down on the brakes, shoulders, down to 3rd gear, roll it in with a left shoulder check, and just trundle a little bit further up this lay-by before we come to a stop. So I'm checking the mirrors again. Bit of a bumpy road surface this. And I'm going to stop a little bit further up here near the bench. coming to a stop, changing down to first, into neutral, side stand down, push it onto the side stand, turn the engine off, and there we go. So that's a demonstration ride. Hope you found that interesting. So if you found that useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and go and have a look at the website as well, reslocal.com. Loads more information there about advanced and performance driving. We will put some riding stuff on there shortly. But for now, thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.